Hello and welcome to me, Percy, drawing a concept art of a character for a story I'm working on. So on the right, you're going to see the speed paint of me doing my drawing. And as you can see here to start with, we're just working on a sketch. And then I'm doing some solid line art of the body that's going to be underneath the clothing and everything. For this first video, you might see sometimes the staging skips because I keep forgetting to turn my Krita record docker on. And on the left, you're going to see some footage of me actually drawing on my tablet and my cat, Green Bean. I've been hearing that there's some AI programs out there doing quote unquote AI speed paints. So I just wanted to add another extra layer of, yeah, this is actually me doing the work. It's not consistent. It's not, directly related to what's happening on the right. I just wanted to have something over there. And, you get some cat footage on occasion. So to kind of talk about my process overall, I usually don't do a full line art of the body underneath the clothing of a character, but I do try and understand where the body is moving. But because this is a concept art and it's the first time I'm really drawing these characters, well, just in this case, it's one character, I really want to have an understanding as to what their body type is like. So for this character, her name is Leona. She's a bit fit, she's muscular, but not overly so. She's kind of, she's still royalty, so she's not like fighting all the time. I actually have a lot of layers I use for my process, so maybe one day I'll go through and show you what my layering process looks like. But for right now, I did my body. I got my body lined in really well. I've got that gun lined in. And now I'm kind of doing another sketch of her face and hair. And then I will block in some gray. Less so for value work and more so I can see what's happening. Because now I'm doing some sketching for the clothing. And for her clothing, I really wanted to play around with some triangular shape language. She's not a villain. She's actually a protagonist. She's an empress of the land of Silesia. But she's kind of a stern person. Not really stern in a bad way, but she's very bullheaded. She knows what she believes in. She knows what she wants. And she knows how she wants to act. And she is not afraid to protect her people. So she has a lot of triangles here. So in her shirt, the sleeves kind of form a triangular shape. Her pants are kind of triangular. And the points in her crown obviously are triangular. And I kind of went with more of a triangular shape language because she's the empress of the sun. So, sun rays, triangles. Not really trying to subvert any expectations when it comes to shape language, but just trying to make her a little bit more threatening than if I went with like squares. Like you saw for a while there, the belt was square and then it was circular, and then I just replaced the belt entirely later on. And as you can see, I'm actually sketching my line art over top the lines I had for her body. So if I ever wanted to do a concept of a different outfit, I still have that body language underneath this clothing that I can go back to this file later and just put something else on it. So now you can see here I am kind of sketching in the colors. For my coloring, I actually have all my colors on different layers. So her shirt color's on a different layer, the pants is a different layer, the skin is a different layer. And I do this so I can easily and quickly adjust colors without having to try and select things. I played a lot around with her undershirt here. I thought for a while I was going to have it be like a semi-transparent mesh type shirt. Oh, you can see here is a point where I forgot to turn my docker on and off. I completely replaced her cloak and went something a lot more triangular. And you can see the coat, the belt has been replaced now. And there's a bit of a background happening. I think of this cloak. The triangles come through a lot better here. But you'll see occasionally the colors flashing as I'm adjusting them or as I'm switching to a value layer to put everything into grayscale so I can check my values. You see the background is getting colored in here. Watch that. Eventually you'll see another point where I forget to turn my docker on and off again. Well, off and then on again. because the background will change completely. I originally had her like inside an area and then just went the lighting wasn't working and changed it. You can see here I did some texture work on the pants and I'm adding a pattern, some leopard print. She's Leona, you know, obviously that relates to Leon and then to lion, so I really wanted to get some cat themed stuff in there, and a leopard just seemed like a fun pattern to put on her pants. I've always wanted to do the two-tone pattern on her pants here. Did a pattern on the belt as well, the pinstriping on the shirt. And now I have my shadows happening. So the way I do shadows is, if we were to look at my layers, you would see the line art in the middle, flat colors underneath that, and then my shading layer is actually just a single tone layer. I believe it's set to multiply at 50%. And instead of painting in light, what I'm actually doing is I'm erasing the color of the shadow layer I put on. And then typically underneath my shadow layer, I will put a light color. So for my shadow layer here, it's like a navy blue. And then I think the light color I ended up with was a pale pink set to soft light, again at 50%. But I usually don't turn my soft light layer on until I'm done erasing my shadows. But for soft lighting like this, in some places like on her face or like through her cloak, I'll use a more of a blended or an airbrush to sort of imply that. But I still like having sharp lighting. It's my preference. It's how I like to draw. And you'll see I even use a little bit of that soft blended erasing underneath her arm there to show that her shirt isn't entirely opaque either. Oh, there you go. There's some flashing colors. That's me adjusting the color of the lighting and the shot. Oh, and that's the point where I forgot to turn my recorder back on after changing the background a little bit. Now that she's outside, the lighting makes a lot more sense and it just looks more natural. And now I'm actually going through and doing the same thing I did on her. I try to do everything all sequentially. So I'll do all my line art, and then all my colors for the character, and then I'll do my line art and coloring for the background. And then once all my flats and my lines are in and I'm happy with that, then I will add my shadow color and then start erasing and giving that lighting dimension. And then when I'm ready, I'll turn on my light layer. And because the light layer is usually just kind of an adjustment, I don't really do anything, add or erase anything from the light color, then I will usually do a layer above. I believe my effects layer goes above everything. So above all my lines, all my colors, all my shadows. And then I'll do things like this glow here, kind of showing the light haloing from behind her. And the beams of light as well. And then a little bit of like some catch lighting to show where the light is hitting the strongest, and a little bit of subsurface scattering, which I'm not the best at. I'm learning. You know, the light from her spurs glowing on the ground and kind of lighting up her face a little bit. And then I just sort of finished up my background. I didn't do too anything crazy with the background here, just because my focus was more on the character herself. But I wanted to put the background in to kind of get an idea of where she's from. So she's from Silesia, and they've got a lot of fun stuff going on. I cannot wait to share more about this character and the world she's from, and why exactly there's these fun bronze spikes coming out of the ocean behind this tower. And what is casting this light from the tower, which it's not quite a lighthouse. So I'm kind of doing a little zoom here to get you a little closer look. This is the first time I've done a video like this, so I'm still learning how and when to turn my Dockers back on, but how I want to narrate this and how to show off the final piece. So, big learning process, figuring things out. I did like how this turned out. I liked the design. There's some things I'm looking back on, like the color of the holster that I would want to change, maybe add some more texture to the holster. But as a concept piece, to kind of get an idea to who she is and what she looks like and what she wears, I was happy with it. The clothing I tried to keep pretty loose and open. She's from a hotter climate, so some looser clothing to let the air vent and not get trapped against the skin and heat up was nice. And then I went with a fun little fishnet underpiece here. Wow, I did a bad job when I was using my blender to pan through this image. You get to stare at her pants for a good while. Enjoy the texture there and the leopard print. But like I said, still learning to use these things. I try to only use open source tools. So Krita for my art, Blender for my video comp, and then Audacity for this overlay. I try to use as many free and open source projects as possible because I hate Adobe, so I'm probably never going to ever use anything Adobe coded. And it just makes it easier. Sometimes open source tools, they may not have as many easy to use functions, but they are open source for a reason. They are not managed by a multi-billion-dollar company, and it means anyone can use them if they have the right system. Although now that I think about it, I think all three of these programs work on Linux. I have not checked. I would have to double check that. But this was a fun little process. It was fun to be able to see the recording come through and see everything sort of come to life all at once. My next step for Leona here as a character would be to make a turnaround sheet so I can keep her details consistent. And in terms of character design, this one is actually something really easy to simplify if I needed to. So if I needed to do a lot of drawings, I don't have to use her cloak every single time. The spurs don't need to happen every single time, which makes her character design fun. It shows who she is, where she's from. I tried to keep her of a fairly orange color palette, which is hard to do because dark orange usually just becomes brown. And I was really happy with how she turned out, and being able to simplify her process in the future and still maintain the shapes and who she is and being able to recognize her. I think I succeeded there. But, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like I said, I've never done this before. This is all new. I'll be doing this of the other character concept arts for this little project I'm working on as well. I think I know which character I'm doing next. So we'll be seeing that here soon. Yeah, other than telling me to say less and all of that, if anyone has any advice or recommendations on how to make these videos a little bit more fun to watch, a little easier to see, let me know. I'm trying to learn and do my best here. Otherwise, I think I have a little treat for you here at the end of us staring at Leona's lovely, intense, olivey colored eyes. Because at some point I did manage to get my kitty to join me on my lap for some snuggles. And I'll leave you there. So, let me know if you liked the piece. I'll be linking it to my website so you can see it in like full proper HD later. And I'll see you guys again soon when I have my next piece ready. These concept pieces take a lot longer than some other things because I'm doing a lot of sitting and staring and going, do I want this character to look like this? Do I like this nose shape? Do I like this eye shape? Do I like this hair? Do I like this clothing? Do I like these colors? So it takes a little longer than just going, I'm going to draw this person. Now that I have her concept out, it'll be a lot easier to draw Leona start to finish because I'm not going from scratch. I know what she looks like now and I know what she wears. So in between this and some other pieces and my next concept piece, I will also be doing her turnaround sheet, and I'm not sure I'm going to record and do a whole video on that because that's just a lot of work. But there's the boy, there's Green Bean. He loves having his belly scratched. There's some stretching his paw out real far. And I think I'll leave you guys there. And I'm going to shut up now. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.